Number of confirmed coronavirus patients in the country reach 88. 20 people killed and 20 others injured in a commuter bus and lorry accident in Mkuranga. And in sports, Yanga Sports Club not interested in signing Kariobangi Sharks star. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's start things off with the national news. The number of confirmed coronavirus patients in the country has reached 88, up from 53 after the ministry announced 29 new patients. The report from the Minister of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children stated that all 29 confirmed cases are Tanzanian, with 26 in Dar es Salaam, 2 in Mwanza and 1 in Kilimanjaro. The increased number of coronavirus patients include 6 announced in Zanzibar, and thus far 11 have recovered and 4 have died from the virus. 20 people were killed and 18 others injured in a road accident between a lorry and a commuter bus which occurred at Kilmahewa village north of Kimazichana, Mkuranga district, coast region. Police commander from Rufiji Police Zone, ACP Onesmo Lianga, said the accident involved a commuter bus from Mbagala Rangitatu and a lorry which was coming from Dar es Salaam and heading to southern regions.
I received a phone call that an accident had occurred. I rushed here and found a bus overturned and all passengers in the bus had died already. Preliminary reports shows that Mitsubishi Rosa, a Coaster with registration numbers T102DSW, which travels between Mporo and Mbagala Rangitatu, while en route to Mbagala with passengers around 6 a.m., it had a head-on collision with a Scania with registration numbers T865DQJ, which was heading to South regions. In Mkuranga today morning, there was a terrible accident in Kilimahewa area, where we have 18 casualties. 7 of them are in bad condition who were rushed to Muhimbili National Hospital. 7 others are still at Mkuranga District Hospital, while the remaining 4 will be attended at Kilimahewa Health Care for further monitoring. Sadly, 20 people died from the accident, where the process right now is for their family members to come and recognize their loved ones who have died from the accident.
The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, has sent his condolences to the family and friends of the people who lost their lives in the road accident that occurred at Kilmahewa village north of Kimanzichana, Mkuranga district, coast region, and wished a speedy recovery to those who were injured. President Magufuli also directed road safety organs to ensure they take specific action to prevent road accidents and for drivers and all road users to follow traffic signs in order to avoid accidents that cost lives and damage property. And the Ministry of Health in Zanzibar has announced 6 new coronavirus cases and 1 death. A statement from the Minister of Health, Hamad Rashid Said, reported death was among the 6 new cases, and it is the first death since the outbreak of the virus in Zanzibar. Zanzibar has recorded 18 coronavirus cases to date, with 2 patients making a complete recovery from the virus.
Kwa vitendea kazi kwa wananchi, mbali ya hivi tunavyojitolea wenyewe tukuweka matangi ya maji na
There is need for distribution of equipments that are needed in combating the spread of coronavirus. Although we have volunteered in putting water tanks and soaps for people to wash their hands in streets, People need to have more knowledge of the disease. It will be best for journalists to be given freedom they deserve in conducting their activities of educating and informing people of all the latest reports and challenges faced during this period.
Tunafuata sheria kama zinavyotolewa na Shirika la Afya Duniani.
We are adhering to all directives given by WHO and even our government on measures of protecting ourselves from the virus. In Zanzibar, people are very careful. Everywhere you go, you will find water, soap and sanitizer.
Tunafuata sheria. Kwa hiyo na nyinyi waandishi wa habari, kuweni makini katika kazi zenu kwa sababu gonjwa hili ni hatari, halichagui tajiri wala maskini. Gonjwa ni hatari sana, lakini pia tunapaswa.
The heads of East African Community member countries summit on the coronavirus situation in the region planned to take place today in Arusha via video conference has been postponed after South Sudan failed to participate. Meanwhile, EAC member countries have received 9 mobile laboratories and 18 vehicles to support efforts being taken to control the spread of the virus.
All of you and all of us should be very sensitive to what is happening to South Sudan. It's a country which has faced very, very serious challenges over the last many years. And we have been very happy that recently they were able to form a government of national unity. So they are reorganizing as a country. And that is not a very simple task. For people based in Tanzania, in Rwanda, Burundi, you know, we are not having the same headaches they do. So when a head of state is not available, we have a lot of respect to that. So they are very busy with other very important issues in their country, and that is the reason why they cannot attend this time. But I'm sure that all of you have seen over the last 3 or 4 years the South Sudan has been present at all the summits. So let us not, let us not make this a very, very big problem.
And the Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has directed the Defense and Safety Committee in Mwanza region to take legal action against a businessman, Jeremiah Assam Omolo, found to be involved in sale of illegal fishing equipment. The Prime Minister gave the directive today when speaking to Mwanza Defense and Safety Committee via a video conference call from his office in Dodoma.
Wiki hii mmefanya kazi kubwa ya operation kupitia kikosi chako ulichokiunda Mheshimiwa Mkuu wa Mkoa.
This week, Honorable Regional Commissioner, you have done an excellent job together with the task force that you formulated, which was verified by the Regional Security Committee. Several suspects were arrested, including Jeremiah Asma Omolo, who has been arrested for quite a number of time, found in possession of illegal fishing nets, despite specifications given by the ministry in charge. When we allow one person to continue with series of crimes and allow him to pay fines, this shows that this person is producing more, and fine is just a part of his excess money generated from the illegal activities. Stern measures must be taken against him. Investigations are ongoing, where so far the investigation team has managed to get information from the suspect, including showing them the illegal tools which were found in different places, since the suspect has a tendency of renting many houses in the region, where last night alone undersized kill nets and timber were seized in bulks.
Ambayo waliyapata kwenye maeneo mawili ambao waliwaonyesha.
Some residents of Mbweni Teta in Kinondoni Municipal Dar es Salaam have abandoned their houses after more than 50 houses and several plots of land were engulfed by water caused by ongoing rains. The residents in the area have called on the government to intervene and find a solution to the problem, which occurs during the rainy season.
Mimi kama mwananchi wa eneo hili, kweli hali tunayoipata sasa hivi ni hali ngumu sana.
As a resident of this area, I can confirm that the situation is very hard, because since the floods began, people are living in hazardous conditions, since the stagnant water has been mixed with sewage water. Some people have run away from their homes, and for those who are still here, our families are in danger and all stuck in the houses. We are glad that some of our neighbors have contributed funds to help in building drainage systems that will at least allow this water to find a way and reduce the problem. Although it is not enough, we're asking for the government to support us in constructing durable drainage systems because experts are needed to do this job.
The Permanent Parliamentary Committee for Good Governance and Local Government has advised the government to increase salaries for public servants so that they can cope with the current cost of living, as well as to promote them on time so as to keep them motivated to perform in their jobs. The chairman of the committee and Bukoba Urban MP Dr. Jason Rekiza said this when delivering his committee's opinion on the President's Office for Public Service Management and Good Governance budget for 2020-2021, which was submitted in Parliament today.
Government should increase salaries to public workers to allow them manage life expenses, which have been increasing every now and then. Without doing so, it will continue affecting their working efficiency. Apart from that, the government should also rephrase the duration of promotion at work and salary increments that they deserve. Despite sections that directs on salary increments to public workers as well as promotions, we have not seen workers' unions coming forward to claim what is due for workers, something that is leaving us worried if these unions are really there for the benefit of the workers, because workers deserve to earn what they deserve.
That's where we leave off for national news. International news is next. In international news, the number of coronavirus cases in Kenya has risen to 225 after 9 more patients tested positive for COVID-19 following the testing of 803 samples over the last 24 hours. Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe in a press briefing on Wednesday said that all the 9 patients are Kenyans who had no history of travel outside the country but were identified through contact tracing.
This is a war, and our frontline soldiers are the health workers and the people who are in security. So we must make sure that these people are actually protected. Most counties have purchased water treatment chemicals for water companies and also shouldered the responsibility of providing clean drinking water to needy communities. County governments are also providing sanitary.
Of the 803 samples, 9 people have tested positive, bringing to 225 the number of confirmed cases in the country. And I would like also to mention that all the 9 cases are Kenyan nationals. And also, none of them has a history of travel, and none of them was in a quarantine center. Figures depend on what we do. Worst case scenarios, there are scenarios that have looked at us and said that we are going to have 2-3 million.
And 983 samples tested for the coronavirus in Rwanda in the past 24 hours have revealed 7 new cases, bringing the tally to 134 since the outbreak of the virus. 49 patients have recovered so far from coronavirus, with 4 days remaining until the indoor lockdown is lifted.
This is quite sad to many people because the number of new cases is increasing while there are few who have recovered, which means that we shall continue being locked in our houses. Children have been losing opportunities of learning since schools are remaining closed. Thus, we are collaborating with many countries around the world so that students will continue their learning activities through radio and internet.
The government in the Democratic Republic of Congo, through the Ministry of Health in North Kivu, has urged residents of Beni to be united in the fight against Ebola. This comes following reports of 2 Ebola deaths.
Ebola took me into coma. It took a while for me to fully recover from the disease. It is indeed a very bad disease. Although I have recovered, but I can't run, do any hard work, or even carry buckets full of anything. I'm merely weak.
How to move forward with its COVID-19 restrictions. There are signs that the pandemic may be abating. The question is to prolong the school and work closures or start returning to normal life. And the answer could have major consequences. For more, let's turn to William Glukroft, our political correspondent with our partner Doshvele in Berlin. So, William, what is the latest in Germany and elsewhere in Europe?
Well, there's a collective holding of one's breath here all around Europe as countries, all surrounding Germany, are starting to loosen their restrictions. We're seeing that most boldly in Austria, that's decided to open up small businesses, with schools and other larger companies to follow in the next week or two. Even Spain, that's been so hard hit by this devastating pandemic, they're looking to send some workers, especially in the construction sector, back to work. Even Italy is opening some of its bookshops, although its lockdown is officially still in place until early May. And other countries around Europe are starting to, here and there in very small ways, starting to loosen up restrictions as they start seeing cases of new cases of the infection fall. Here in Germany, that is the big question. The current restrictions go on until April 19th, that's Sunday, and Angela Merkel, the Chancellor, is meeting with her ministers in the cabinet and also the leaders of Germany's 16 states today to confer and to go forward with a national plan on if and how the loosening of restrictions might actually happen.
So how will the government make the decision on these restrictions?
Well, it's based basically on, of course, agreement among the 16 states. Remember, Germany is a decentralized federal system, so Angela Merkel can't snap her fingers and make things happen. She needs the agreement of all of the states. It's also going to be based on the criteria that's being put forward by both the Public Health Institute here in Germany and the National Academy of Sciences, that's saying that there needs to be appropriate social distancing, that people need to even possibly wear face masks, and that the health system is able to continue to cope with incoming infections. The Public Health Institute here in Germany that tracks the cases, of which there's more than 130,000 now in Germany, has said that although the numbers are falling, the numbers are still very high, and that's a reason for optimism, but only cautious optimism. So only if these rules can be stuck to, and only if the cases continue to fall and if hospitals can continue to cope, will there be an easing of restrictions. But it does look now that the current restrictions are going to stay in place until at least May 3rd, possibly thereafter. And then there'll be a discussion of opening of schools, opening of small businesses. So we're not quite out of the woods yet here in Germany.
So what are the risks in deciding one way or the other?
Yes, well, that has been the big debate, because of course there's risks either way. If you keep the restrictions in place, as the German Ethics Council and the National Academy of Sciences have put out, you are risking the psychological health of people, the well-being of families and children. There's been some recorded uptick in domestic violence at homes around Germany as well as elsewhere. You're also, of course, risking the economic effects. Germany is officially seen to be in a recession according to the economics ministry here in Germany. So those are on one side, and those are, of course, very serious potential consequences of keeping the restrictions in place. But loosening the restrictions, of course, comes with the possibility of a major impact to physical health, that a second wave of infections could come. There could be a peak, a spike in cases and in deaths. Germany, which has so far escaped the worst of this pandemic, something that Spain and Italy and France have not, unfortunately, not enjoyed like Germany has, they could see a spike in that if there's a loosening of restrictions. There's the big question of, did Germany get lucky, or did Germany just was in a better place to handle the pandemic, or is it exactly because of the restrictions that were in place that Germany was spared, or has so far been spared, the worst in this pandemic? And if those restrictions are loosened, the danger then comes that we could see something closer to what unfortunately has been the case in Italy, in Spain, and France. So that's what the German government is debating today, and Angela Merkel should come out later with an official statement, but we're waiting to see what that exactly is going to be.
Well, thank you very much, William, and we do hope that you continue to stay safe. These are dangerous times out there. Until next time.
Absolutely, and same back to you.
And that special report ends our international news. We'll be back with business news after this very short break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news. The Minister of Trade and Industry in Zanzibar, Ambassador Amina Salum Ali, has announced new prices for seaweed, which has gone up from 400 to 1,800 shillings a kilo.
Several necessary measures have been taken from knowing the amount of sand that is there, as well as their uses. Right now we are on the last phase, which is policy measures, which involves two governments of Zanzibar and Tanzania mainland. Our committee had dialogues with the government where we advised for big companies and institutions that have high sand consumptions to be allowed to import sand under special procedures, so that the little amount of sand that is available in the country should remain being used by the locals, something that the government of Zanzibar has agreed on, and processes of importing sand are ongoing.
Tanzania Investment Center TIC has called on people who have illegally invaded areas allocated for investors such as Lubusu and Basanza in Kigoma region, which will be used to grow oil palms, to immediately vacate them so that investment activities can be implemented.
Areas that have been found to be suitable for sugarcane farming include Kibondo and Kasulu, while in Ubinza there are some areas that are favorable for palm farming. The forum opened doors of opportunities in our region to neighboring countries like DRC, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and Zambia.
The commercial director of Kilombero Sugar Factory, Fimbo Busala, said that suspension of production activities in the sugar industry due to the ongoing rains has not contributed to increase in sugar prices.
Ni kwamba wengi ukitembea kwenye maduka wameona kuna watu wanakuja kununua vitu kwa wingi.
Most traders didn't expect many people making purchases in bulks, which is a result of buying panic due to the threat of coronavirus, since there has been a series of lockdowns in some African countries. Perhaps it was one among the reasons of such purchase. In such moments, sugar is given priority, making shop owners increase prices of sugar.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters.
Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lend.
And in sports, Young Africans coach Luke Eyemael has dismissed reports that they are keen to sign a Kariobangi Sharks player Sven Yida. Here's more.
Reports have increasingly linked the Tanzanian Giants to the services of the Kenyan Premier League KPL midfielder ahead of next season. However, coach Eyemael has now told Goal he doesn't know the player and has not shortlisted him on his transfer list for the coming transfer window. On Monday, Eyemael told Goal he will go for the signing of Simba Sports Club player Clatous Chama if the club adjusts the asking price for his services. Simba have already warned clubs seeking to sign the Zambian player they will be compelled to pay more than 800 million for his services.
Namungo FC coach Hitimana Thierry has openly stated he is ready to discuss terms with any club showing interest in his services.
The Indian technician has positively established himself at the Lindi-based club, so no wonder his side currently sits fourth on the mainland Premier League ladder with 50 points from 29 games. Thierry has disclosed he is yet to agree on terms with his current employer Namungo. Talking about his success at the club, the coach said the desire to keep players who helped the team to be promoted into the top flight is one of the contributing factors to the existing good performance.
Emily Rosald is ready to go to legal war with Barcelona President Josep Maria Bartomeu, with the recently resigned ex-vice president of the opinion that corruption is evident within Camp Nou and that the club's recent response to his initial claims was merely an attempt to taint his personal honor. Here are the details.
Rosald, along with 5 other board officials, recently stepped down in protest of how Barca is being ran at the highest level. The designation followed in the wake of, among other things, a social media scandal, Barca Gate, in which it was alleged that Bartomeu had hired a company to improve his image during the final year of his presidency through disparaging high-profile figures associated with the Blaugrana.
And Arsenal's players have rejected the latest proposal aimed at slashing the club's wage bill during the ongoing coronavirus crisis. Here is more.
Executives and players have been attempting to secure some sort of agreement during talks over the past fortnight, which would allow the North London club to lessen their financial outlay while football is suspended in the country. Several options have been discussed, but so far none have been met with enough approval to be put into action. The idea of a 12.5% wage cut, which could last for a year, was put to the senior squad over the weekend, with Arsenal making it clear to the players that the financial situation at the club will be grave should the season not be completed, or if it were to be finished behind closed doors.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. My name is Vanessa Vector. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and good night.